I never thought my life would come to this. I'd always been the steady, reliable one, the guy who worked hard, provided for his family, and believed in the sanctity of marriage. But that night, everything changed. It all started with an overheard conversation. I had just come home from work, exhausted, craving nothing more than a quiet evening. As I passed by my daughter's room, I heard hushed voices. My daughter Emily was whispering something to my son Jack. "Who do you want to stay with after the divorce?" she asked. I froze. Divorce? Jack's answer was like a knife twisting in my gut. "Are you kidding me? Of course with Mom and her boyfriend. He lets me drive his new car and promised to buy me one too. By the way, Mom said he might actually be our real dad because she dated him 15 years ago. I really hope that's true." I stumbled back, my mind spinning. My wife, Lisa, had been seeing someone. No, more than that. She had been telling my children that this man might be their real father. My heart pounded against my ribs. Had our entire marriage been a lie? Was I raising children that might not even be mine? That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, listening to Lisa's slow, even breathing beside me. I wanted to shake her awake, to demand answers, but something held me back. Instead, I packed a bag. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay in that house, under the same roof as a woman who had betrayed me so deeply. As I drove away in the middle of the night, my hands clenched the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. My mind raced through every memory of our marriage, trying to pinpoint when it all started falling apart. Lisa and I had been together for 16 years. I thought we were happy. Sure, things had gotten a little stale. Marriage with kids does that. But I never once thought she would betray me like this. Had I been blind? I checked into a cheap motel, staring at the ceiling until morning, my brain refusing to shut down. I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I needed space. I needed time to think. Then my phone rang. It was Emily, and she was crying. "Dad, you have to come back. I think something really bad is happening. Mom just told me." The line went dead. A cold wave of fear crashed over me. What had Lisa told her? What was happening back home? I grabbed my keys and ran out the door. I gripped the steering wheel so tightly my fingers ached. My mind was spinning, trying to piece together what Emily had been about to say before the call cut off. Lisa had lied to me. She had lied to our children. And now my daughter was terrified, calling me in tears. As I sped back towards the house, my thoughts drifted to the past, to the life I thought I had. Lisa and I met when we were both in college. She was this wild, free-spirited kind of girl, the kind who could make anyone laugh, who could make you feel like the most important person in the world when she looked at you. I was different, steady, grounded. Maybe that's what drew her to me in the first place. I fell hard for her, and she always said she fell just as hard for me. We got married young, right after graduation. While she struggled to figure out what she wanted in life, I got a stable job in construction management. I worked long hours doing everything I could to give us a good life. Then the kids came. Emily was first. She was always my little girl, smart, kind, and always looking out for others. Then Jack, my boy. He was more like his mom, impulsive, thrill-seeking. But I loved them both with everything I had. I worked overtime, sacrificed my hobbies, and put every damn thing I had into being a husband and father. And this is how it ends? My son idolizing some other man, some stranger, because he bought him expensive gifts. My wife rewriting history, making it seem like our marriage was some mistake, that I was never really meant to be their father. The betrayal was unbearable. By the time I pulled up to the house, my hands were shaking with rage. I barely had time to kill the engine before the front door flew open. Lisa stood in the doorway, her arms crossed, her face twisted into an expression of irritation, like I was the problem. "You just had to be dramatic, didn't you?" she sneered. I pushed past her into the house. "Where's Emily?" I demanded. "She's fine." Lisa rolled her eyes. "You leaving in the middle of the night just scared her. That's all." I wasn't buying it. I turned toward the stairs, calling out, "Emily? Dad?" Her voice was shaky, coming from the hallway. A second later, she appeared at the top of the stairs, looking pale and shaken. I rushed up to her. What happened? What did Mom say to you? Emily glanced nervously at Lisa, who was still standing below us, her arms folded, her mouth set in a tight line. Tell him, Lisa said flatly. Emily swallowed hard. She told me that you're not my real dad. My stomach twisted violently. Lisa smirked. Well, now you know. My world tilted. What the fucks are you talking about? My voice came out low and dangerous. Lisa shrugged, completely unbothered. I dated Ryan before you. We were off and on. You were a safe choice. A safe choice? My hands balled into fists. So you've been lying to me for 16 years? She scoffed. I mean, does it really matter? You raised them. You had a good run, didn't you? Had a good run? Like I was some kind of placeholder? Emily was crying now, shaking her head. It's not true, Dad. It can't be. Lisa cut her off. We'll be getting the paternity test soon just to make it official. I felt like I was going to throw up. Then from behind me, I heard a voice that made my blood run cold. Hey, man. I turned slowly. Ryan, the boyfriend, the real father, according to Lisa. He stood in my fucking house like he belonged there, wearing a smug grin. And that's when I snapped. I lunged at him, my fist connecting with his jaw so hard he staggered back into the wall. He cursed, shaking his head like he couldn't believe I'd actually hit him. Lisa screamed, grabbing my arm. Stop it! You're being ridiculous! Ridiculous? I yanked my arm free, my breath coming in ragged gasps. You bring him into my house? You tell my kids I might not even be their father? And I'm the one being ridiculous. Ryan straightened, rubbing his jaw. Chill, man. I'm just here for Lisa and the kids. You can't seriously think they're better off with you. The audacity. He smirked. You walked out on them already. Just make it official. For a split second, I considered breaking his damn face, but I looked at Emily, her tear-streaked cheeks, the way she clung to me, and I knew I had to be stronger than that. I stepped back, exhaling through clenched teeth. You don't get to decide what happens next. Lisa folded her arms. Actually, I do. I already talked to a lawyer. We're filing for divorce. And you're the one who left, so guess what? That means I get the house and the kids? I stared at her, barely able to comprehend the level of betrayal. Lisa smirked. Oh, and since you've been paying all the bills, technically everything is in your name, which means I get alimony too. My hands clenched at my sides. You're fucking insane. She shrugged. Call it what you want, but you're not the victim here. You were just a convenience. That did it. I turned to Emily and Jack. Pack your bags. Lisa scoffed. Excuse me? I glared at her. You want to fucky up your life? Fine, but I'm not letting you drag my kids down with you. Jack rolled his eyes. I'm not going anywhere. Ryan's gonna hook me up with my first car soon anyway. I almost couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own son, my blood, or so I thought, choosing this man over me. I turned to Emily. What about you? Tears spilled down her cheeks. She didn't say a word, just ran into my arms, sobbing. That was all I needed to know. I grabbed my keys. Emily's coming with me. Lisa's smirk faltered. Like hell she is. We locked eyes, a silent war raging between us. She had taken everything from me, but I would not let her take my daughter, not without a fight. Lisa's laughter rang in my ears as I gripped Emily's shaking shoulders. You think you can just take her? Lisa sneered, arms crossed over her chest. You're not even her real father. Those words cut deeper than any knife. Emily clung to me, sobbing, but Jack just stood there, unbothered, almost amused. He was already lost to me, poisoned by Lisa's lies and Ryan's bribes. But Emily was different. She knew the truth, felt it in her bones. You're not going anywhere, sweetheart, Lisa cooed, stepping toward her. Emily flinched, and that's when I knew. Lisa didn't give a damn about Emily. She didn't care about keeping her. She only cared about winning, and she thought she already had. I turned to face her fully, my body tense. Tell me, Lisa, why? Why the hell are you doing this? Was I really just a placeholder to you? She rolled her eyes. Oh, please, you act like you didn't see this coming. You were boring, okay? You worked, paid the bills, and acted like that was enough. Meanwhile, I had to settle for you. Settle. I laughed bitterly. You mean I was the only one dumb enough to marry you? Her face twisted with rage. Oh, fuck off, you self-righteous a hole. You want the truth? Fine. Ryan was always the one. But back then, he wasn't ready. He had his flings, he was an idiot, but I loved him. And then I got pregnant. My stomach clenched. She smiled. Ryan didn't want to be a father, so I picked the guy who did. My knees nearly buckled. So yeah, I married you. I let you think it was love, let you raise a kid that probably wasn't even yours because I knew you'd be the good little husband. You'd work yourself to death, come home tired, and never suspect a thing. I exhaled slowly, my fists trembling. But you were never him, Lisa finished, smirking. And now? I finally get what I should have had all along. Ryan chuckled behind her. Told you he couldn't handle it. The restraint it took not to snap his neck was inhuman. Lisa stepped forward. So just be a good boy, sign the divorce papers, and walk away. You don't need to make this messier than it already is. Messier? She had stolen my life, my marriage, my son, my sanity. And she thought I'd just walk away. I forced a smile. Oh, Lisa, you really should have picked someone dumber. Her smirk faltered. What? I pulled my phone from my pocket and turned the screen to her. It was recording. Her eyes widened. Smile, I whispered. Her own words played back. Ryan was always the one. I picked the guy who did. So yeah, I married you. Lisa lunged for the phone, but I stepped back. You recorded me? You bastard! She shrieked. Ryan looked nervous now. Lisa, chill. Oh no, don't chill, Lisa. Please tell me more about how you used me, lied to me, wasted 16 years of my life so I could be your babysitter. She was breathing hard, shaking. That won't hold up in court. I grinned. Maybe not, but it'll hold up on Facebook, or maybe at your job, or, oh, I don't know, our entire social circle. Her face turned white. I wasn't done. Oh, and by the way, I pulled another envelope from my pocket. I handed it to her. She ripped it open, her hands trembling, and then she froze. DNA test results. Jack, not mine. Emily, mine. Lisa's head snapped up, her lips parting in shock. You didn't think I'd check, I said softly. After everything, you really thought I wouldn't check. Jack scoffed, but even he looked a little rattled now. I turned to him. Guess what, kid? Ryan here? He's your real dad. Congrats. He can deal with your entitled, ungrateful A now. Jack looked at Ryan, waiting for reassurance. Ryan just looked at the floor, and that's when it hit him. Ryan didn't want him. Jack's face crumpled. Lisa grabbed my arm. Wait, please. Let's talk about this. I ripped free. Talk? Talk? You didn't give me a conversation, Lisa. You fed me sock for years and expected me to eat it. I turned to Emily. Go pack your things. Lisa stepped in front of me, frantic. You can't just take her. I leaned in close, voice low and cold. Watch me. Lisa spun to Ryan, desperate. Do something. Ryan sighed. Lisa, I didn't sign up for this. Lisa's entire body stiffened. I almost laughed. The look on her face, the moment she realized she had bet on the wrong man, it was fucking priceless. Emily came back with a bag slung over her shoulder. She didn't look at Lisa, didn't even acknowledge Jack. Lisa's voice cracked. Please. Emily hesitated. Then she shook her head. Dad? She whispered. I put an arm around her. Let's go, baby girl. Lisa collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. Ryan just sighed and grabbed his car keys. Yeah. Jack looked lost. Ryan, wait, you're still getting me a car, right? Ryan didn't even turn around. He walked out the door. Lisa's sobs turned into screams, and I just smiled, stepping out into the cool night air with my daughter beside me. Lisa had taken everything from me, but now I had taken everything from her. As I walked out of that house for the last time, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. Lisa could rot in the ruins of the life she burned to the ground. She had chosen Ryan, the man who abandoned her once before, over me, the man who sacrificed everything to build a life with her. Now, she had nothing. Emily and I got into the truck. My hands were still shaking as I started the engine, but it wasn't from fear or rage anymore. It was adrenaline. It was freedom. I pulled away, leaving Lisa's screams behind me, but I wasn't done yet. Lisa thought she had played the long con. She thought she had used me, milked me for everything, and was going to walk away with the house, the money, and her new shiny life with Ryan. Not anymore. I glanced at Emily. She was staring out the window, silent tears running down her face. "You okay, sweetheart?" I asked softly. She wiped at her cheeks. I don't get it. Why would she do this? She didn't have to lie. She didn't have to treat you like you didn't matter. I exhaled sharply, gripping the wheel. Because some people will always chase what they can't have, and when they finally get it, they realize it's not what they wanted after all. Emily swallowed hard. "She's going to come after us, isn't she?" I smirked. "Let her try." Because Lisa had no idea what was coming next. The reckoning. The first thing I did was call my lawyer. Lisa wanted to play dirty. Fine, I could play filthy. The next morning I met with my attorney, a shark of a woman named Denise Carter. The moment I told her Lisa's whole scheme, she leaned back in her chair and let out a low whistle. "She still thinks that," I said, smirking. Denise chuckled. "Oh, this is going to be fun." Lisa had filed for divorce first, which she thought was smart. She assumed that because I left the house, she could claim abandonment and take everything. But that recording, that DNA test, those were gold. "First of all, we're flipping this on her," Denise said, tapping her pen against her desk. "She committed paternity fraud. She knowingly let you believe you were Jack's father for 16 years, which, by state law, means you can sue her for damages." I raised an eyebrow. "Wait, you're saying I can sue her for child support?" Denise grinned. "Oh, I'm saying you can sue her for everything." And we did. Lisa wanted half my money? Now she was looking at paying me back for every dime I spent on Jack. She wanted the house? Now she was staring down a lawsuit that could leave her in debt. And best of all, Ryan, her soulmate, her one true love, was gone. Turns out when Ryan walked out of Lisa's house that night, he never came back. Apparently, Ryan didn't like the idea of suddenly being a full-time dad to a spoiled, entitled teenager. He didn't want the responsibility. He just wanted the fun parts, the free sex, the easy attention. Lisa called him. He ignored her. Jack texted him, asking when they were going to the dealership. Ryan blocked him. Lisa showed up at Ryan's apartment 3 days later, banging on the door. Another woman answered. Lisa lost her effing mind. Ryan had moved on. She had thrown away her family, her marriage, her entire life for a man who had never wanted her in the first place. And it gets better. Denise filed an emergency motion with the court demanding that Lisa be removed from the house until the legal matters were settled. The judge took one look at the evidence and agreed. Lisa, evicted, homeless, broke. And just when she thought it couldn't get worse, I went public. I posted the recording, the one where Lisa admitted she used me, lied to me, and never loved me. I posted the DNA results, and it went viral. Our friends, family, coworkers, everyone saw it. Lisa went from a respected suburban mom to the town pariah overnight. Her boss fired her for ethical concerns. Her own parents refused to take her in. She called Jack's grandparents, Ryan's parents, begging for help. They laughed and hung up on her. And me. I moved into a new house with Emily, far away from Lisa's toxicity. She tried to fight for custody, claimed I was brainwashing Emily. The judge took one look at Emily's statement, where she begged not to live with Lisa, and shut that shetty down. Lisa lost everything. Jack? He bounced around from friends' couches for a while. I felt bad for the kid, but after the way he treated me, after the way he chose Lisa's lies over the truth, he had to learn the hard way. Last I heard, he moved in with some distant cousin and was working at a gas station, still waiting for someone to hand him a car. Lisa? She tried to claw her way back, tried to apologize, tried to get sympathy, but nobody cared. She was just another liar, another cheater, another fraud. And me? I was finally free. No regrets, no guilt, no looking back. Lisa spent 16 years destroying my life. It took me 16 days to destroy hers, and I slept like a effing baby. I sat on the back porch of my new house, a cold beer in my hand, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Emily was inside, setting up her new bedroom, our new life. For the first time in years, there was peace. No more coming home to a woman who resented me. No more bending over backward for a son who never gave a damn. No more living in a lie. Lisa was gone, Jack was gone, and I was still standing. My phone buzzed, a text from Denise. Final ruling is in. Court denied all of Lisa's appeals. Divorce is finalized. She gets nothing. Congrats. I exhaled slowly, letting that sink in. It was done. Lisa had fought like hell, dragging me through court for months, trying every trick she could think of. She played the victim, cried about how I ruined her life, tried to make me look like the bad guy. But the evidence, the DNA test, the recording, the financial records, they sealed her fate. She had expected to walk away with half my assets, full custody, and a fat alimony check. Instead, she walked away with a pile of debt, no home, and a ruined reputation. Even Jack had turned on her in the end. After Ryan abandoned them both, Jack realized that maybe, just maybe, he'd backed the wrong horse. He showed up at my office a few weeks ago, all sheepish and awkward, trying to make amends. Hey, Dad, I kind of need a place to crash. Mom's lost it. I took one long look at him and said, I'm not your dad. And then I shut the door in his face. Brutal? Maybe. But I wasn't about to be anyone's backup plan. Lisa had used me. Jack had betrayed me. They made their choices. And I was finally done paying the price for them. Lisa's last stand. I wish I could say Lisa disappeared from my life completely after that, but she tried to make a comeback. She called me one night. Her number was blocked, but she left a voicemail. Her voice was broken. Nothing like the arrogant, smug woman who once told me I was just a placeholder. I lost everything, and I know I did it to myself. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I don't know what to do. I have nowhere to go. I was wrong about everything. I didn't even listen to the rest. I deleted it, because some things don't deserve a second chance. The last I heard, Lisa was bouncing between motels and cheap apartments, working a dead-end job, drinking more than she should. Jack was still trying to find someone, anyone, to take him in. Ryan? He had long since ghosted them both, living his best life with a new woman who probably had no idea what kind of snake he really was. And me? I was free. I had Emily. I had my life back. And most importantly, I had revenge. Lisa thought she had played me. She thought she had won. But in the end, I was the one who got the last laugh. I took everything back, and I never looked back. I always thought my marriage was solid. Not perfect, because nothing ever is, but solid. I worked hard, kept food on the table, and did my best to be a good father. Maybe I wasn't the most exciting man in the world, and yeah, I'd put on some weight over the years. But I loved my wife, Natalie, and I loved my kids. I thought they loved me too. Then, one random Thursday evening, my entire life shattered. I came home from work exhausted, dragging myself up the porch steps, my shirt clinging to me with sweat. It had been a brutal day. My boss was writing me about deadlines, my back was acting up again, and I was looking forward to just sitting down, having dinner with my family, and maybe watching a show with my son before bed. Instead, I opened the front door and found my wife and kids standing in the foyer with suitcases. For a second, my brain didn't even register what I was seeing. "Where are you going?" I asked, frowning. Natalie barely looked at me as she zipped up a sleek black suitcase, her fingers moving fast, practiced, like she'd packed and repacked this bag a dozen times before. My daughter Emily was too busy tapping away on her phone to acknowledge me. But my son Brandon stood beside her, arms crossed, his face twisted into something I couldn't quite place. My wife finally looked up and smiled. No, smirked. "I'm going on vacation," she said breezily. "To the beach with my boss." My heart slammed against my ribs. "With your boss." "And I'm taking the kids," she added, zipping up the last bag. The words hit me like a gut punch. My throat tightened. "You can't just take them. We're supposed to talk about these things. You didn't even— I don't need your permission, Jack." Something in her voice made my stomach sink. Cold, dismissive, like I was nothing more than an inconvenience. "Like hell you don't," I shot back, stepping in front of the door. "They're my kids too. You're not taking them anywhere." She let out a sharp laugh. "Oh, please? Do you really think they'd rather stay here with you?" Her eyes raked over me, filled with open disgust. "I don't want to go to the beach with a fat loser like you." A hot, sharp kind of shame burned through me. The words sliced through layers of old insecurities, old wounds I'd buried under years of hard work and exhaustion. Then my son spoke up. "Yeah, Dad, you really need to lose some weight." My breath caught. For a moment, all I could do was stare at him. My own son, my flesh and blood, saying something so cruel so easily, like it was a joke, like it didn't matter. Natalie gave a satisfied little chuckle, turning back to her suitcase. Something inside me cracked. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab my son by the shoulders and shake some sense into him. I wanted to grab Natalie and demand to know what had happened to the woman I married, the woman who used to laugh at my jokes, who used to trace circles on my back at night, who used to love me. But I didn't. I just stood there, frozen, as they brushed past me and walked out the door. And then they were gone. I met Natalie when we were both 22. I was fresh out of trade school, working my first real job in construction, and she was a receptionist at the firm. She was beautiful, way out of my league, if I'm being honest. Blonde hair that caught the light just right, sharp green eyes, and a figure that turned heads wherever she went. But it wasn't just her looks. She had this way of making you feel like the only person in the room when she talked to you. She laughed at my jokes, even when they were stupid. She made me feel important. I fell fast. We got married young. Not because we had to. There was no shotgun wedding, no surprise pregnancy. We were just crazy about each other. At least, I thought we were. Looking back, there were signs, little things I ignored, like how she always talked about wanting to upgrade her life, how she was embarrassed by my job sometimes, how she always gravitated toward guys with money. But I told myself it didn't matter. She chose me. She said yes. We had our first kid, Brandon, when I was 26. Emily came 3 years later. I worked long hours to support them, sometimes pulling double shifts. I wasn't around as much as I wanted to be, but everything I did was for them, for her. And for what? For my son to look me in the eye and call me a fat loser? For my wife to toss me aside like garbage the second someone better came along? I spent that night drinking. I wasn't a heavy drinker before. Maybe a beer after work, something to take the edge off. But that night I downed half a bottle of whiskey and stared at the empty house around me. The silence was unbearable. The house didn't feel like mine anymore. Days turned into weeks. I tried calling Natalie at first, but she never picked up. The kids didn't answer either. When I finally got through to her, she acted like I was nothing more than a telemarketer. "You don't need to call," she said. "We're fine." "You took my kids, Natalie. They wanted to come with me." I clenched my jaw. "When are you coming back?" A pause, then a scoff. "We'll see." That was it. "We'll see." Like she hadn't just torn my entire life apart. I should have fought harder, Should have gone to court, should have kicked down every door I needed to in order to see my kids. But I was drowning in something I couldn't name. It wasn't just sadness, it was humiliation. I felt like less than a man. She didn't just leave me, she mocked me, took my son and turned him against me, made me feel like I was nothing. And the worst part? No one seemed to care. Her family always thought she could do better than me, so they didn't say a word. My own family told me to just focus on myself and move on. My so-called friends didn't even know what to say, so they just avoided me. It was like I had died, and the world just moved on. A month passed. Then one evening there was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. No one had come by in weeks. When I opened it, the last thing I expected to see was them. Natalie stood there, tan and glowing, wearing a sundress like she just stepped out of some tropical paradise. Brandon and Emily stood beside her, bags in hand. But before I could say anything, something even stranger caught my attention. A woman, young, maybe mid-20s, leaning casually against my doorframe. Dark hair, striking blue eyes, a wicked little smile. She cocked her head and smirked. "Looking for Jack?" she asked, voice dripping with amusement. "He's tied up." Natalie blinked, confusion flickering across her face. The woman's smirk widened. "And you're not allowed here anymore." Natalie's face twisted in shock, then outrage. "Excuse me?" The strange woman just smiled, a slow, lazy grin like she was enjoying this, like she already knew she'd won. Natalie turned back to me, her eyes flashing. "Jack, who the heck is this?" I didn't answer right away. I was too busy looking at my kids, my son, who still wouldn't meet my eyes, and my daughter, who looked uncomfortable but said nothing. I had spent the past month drinking myself into a hole, replaying their words, their betrayal, over and over in my head. And now here they were. Why? I finally met Natalie's gaze. "What do you want?" She scoffed, rolling her eyes like I was being dramatic. "Oh, cut the crap, Jack. We're back. I thought about it and the kids missed home, so we're here." Just like that. Like she was doing me a favor. I let out a breath. A bitter, hollow laugh bubbled up in my throat. "You thought about it? You mean he kicked you out, didn't he?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. Bullseye. I felt something cold and ugly slither up my spine. "Your boss dumped you, huh?" "That's none of your business," she snapped, but the way she clenched her jaw told me everything I needed to know. Oh, this was rich. Natalie had spent years looking down on me, rolling her eyes at my work boots by the door, complaining about how I never took her anywhere nice, making me feel like I was less than. Then she goes off with Mr. Big Shot, parades our kids around like trophies, only to get dumped. And now she was back, expecting me to welcome her home. The woman in my doorway let out a soft, amused hum. "Oh," she drawled. "So that's what happened." She turned to me, grinning. "Looks like wifey thought she was trading up, huh?" Natalie glared at her. "Who the fuck are you?" I finally spoke. "Her name's Claire." Natalie's eyes snapped back to me. "And what is she doing in our house?" I crossed my arms. "You mean my house?" She flinched. That was the first time I had seen anything resembling fear in her eyes. Claire giggled, stepping closer, trailing a hand along the doorframe. "Oh, sweetie," she said, voice practically dripping with mockery. "Jack and I have been having so much fun while you were gone." Natalie's face contorted with rage. "You, ah. Claire wagged a finger. "Careful. Wouldn't want to upset your host, now would you?" My wife, ex-wife, turned back to me, her voice shaking. "Jack, tell me she's lying. Tell me you didn't what?" I interrupted coldly. "Move on? Like you did?" Her mouth opened and closed, and then she snapped. She lunged, shoving past Claire, storming inside like she still owned the place. "You're pathetic," she spat. "You think some cheap little wee is gonna make me jealous? You think this trashy rebound means anything?" Claire just laughed, and that infuriated Natalie. You don't get to do this to me, she screamed. You don't get to win. Oh, oh, there it was. The real reason she came back. It wasn't just about the kids. It wasn't even about the house. It was about control. Natalie never thought I'd leave her. She thought she could walk all over me, that I'd always be there, waiting, begging, desperate. And now she was staring at something she never expected, a version of me that didn't need her anymore. I stepped forward, tilting my head slightly. You don't get to do this to me, Natalie. Her breath hitched. For the first time, she actually looked scared. And then Claire leaned in, her voice sweet as poison. Oh, and before you ask? She grinned. Jack's tied up right now. Natalie's face went pale. I let the words sink in, let her imagination run wild. Then, casually, I walked over to the door and shut it in her face. I heard her muffled scream of rage, heard the sound of her fists pounding against the door. I didn't care. For the first time in years, I didn't care. Claire giggled beside me. That was fun. I turned to her, finally letting myself smirk. Oh, sweetheart, we're just getting started. Natalie pounded on the door like a madwoman, screaming, cursing. The kids stood awkwardly behind her, shifting on their feet, caught between the chaos of their mother's fury and the unfamiliar reality of their father not caring. I watched her through the peephole, arms crossed, my heart hammering, but not with fear. Not this time. For years, I had bent over backward to make her happy, put up with her complaints, ignored the little jabs about my weight, my job, my entire existence. And for what? For her to smirk in my face, take my kids, and run off with another man? And now she thought she could waltz back in like nothing happened? Like I was some pathetic dog waiting at the door? Not a chance. Jack, open this deep geese door, she shrieked. I almost laughed. Claire did. She stretched lazily, leaning against the wall like a cat that had just eaten a canary. So, she purred, what's the plan? The plan. Oh, I had one. But first, I opened the door. Just a crack. Just enough to see Natalie's furious, tear-streaked face. You want in? I said calmly. Say please. Her nostrils flared. You are such a... I started to close the door again. Wait, she screeched. Please. Ah, now she understood. I stepped aside. She shoved past me, nearly knocking over a lamp in her blind rage. The kids followed hesitantly, unsure of what to do. Natalie whirled to face me. What is going on, Jack? Who is she? She jabbed a finger at Claire, who only smiled, unfazed. And what do you mean you moved on? You're telling me you just replaced me. I took my time before answering, looked her up and down the way she used to look at me. You left, Natalie, remember? Her lips parted, her breath coming short. I didn't leave. It was a break. A break. I almost choked on my own laughter. You humiliated me, I said quietly. Took my kids, called me a fat loser on your way out. That wasn't a break, Natalie. That was you walking away, and you lost. Her face crumpled. Lost? Claire was enjoying this way too much. She practically purred. Oh, he means you lost your spot, sweetheart. You abandoned your seat at the table and I took it. Natalie looked like she wanted to murder her. Then she turned to the kids. Brandon, Emily, come here. Brandon didn't move. Emily hesitated. Natalie's face twisted in panic. Kids, now. Brandon finally looked at me. Dad. His voice was uncertain, weak. Oh, now he wanted to talk to me. I knelt, meeting his gaze. Did your mother tell you to say those things before she left? He stiffened. His lip quivered. No, he mumbled, looking at the floor. Tell me the truth. My voice was steady but sharp. Silence. Then, finally, he whispered, she told us it was just a joke. I closed my eyes for a moment. Breathe, Jack. Don't explode. Don't give her the satisfaction. Natalie was shifting on her feet. Oh, please, she scoffed. It was a joke. You're acting like I burned your house down. I opened my eyes. Jokes are funny, Natalie, I said coldly. That wasn't. She rolled her eyes, muttering under her breath. Oh my God, you are so dramatic. Claire giggled. You really don't know when to shut up, do you? Natalie snapped. Shut up, you slaw! Claire smirked. Make me. Natalie lunged. I barely had time to react before Claire dodged, grabbing Natalie's wrist and twisting it behind her back. Natalie let out a shriek. Get off me, you psycho! Claire leaned in, voice sweet. Ah-ha, sweetie, you should really learn to pick your fights. I watched, unimpressed. Claire. She released her immediately, stepping back with an exaggerated sigh. Fine, party pooper. Natalie whirled on me, face red with fury. What the high is wrong with you? I stared at her for a long moment. Then I smiled. You want to know what's wrong with me? I said calmly. Let me show you. Then I walked over to the table and picked up a thick, official-looking stack of papers. Her face went pale. Jack, she whispered. I held them out. Divorce papers, already signed. You just need to add your name. Her lips parted. You can't be serious. Dead serious. She shook her head violently. No, I won't let you do this. I won't let you just replace me. Oh, but I already did. She froze. Claire looped her arm through mine. And I gotta say, she purred, Jack's looking real good these days. Guess losing dead weight helped. Natalie's hands curled into fists. You bit. I cut her off. Leave. Now. She shook her head, wild-eyed. You can't. This isn't your home anymore, I said, voice cold as ice. You made sure of that. The realization finally hit. I saw it in her eyes. She lost. Natalie let out a shuddering breath, her face crumbling. But I didn't care. She turned to the kids, voice trembling. Come on, we're leaving. Emily hesitated. Brandon stood frozen. Then he looked at me. Dad? I knelt again, steady. You want to stay? Brandon's eyes darted between me and his mother. Then finally he nodded. Yes. Natalie sucked in a breath. Brandon. He pulled away from her grasp. I want to stay with Dad. Natalie looked at Emily. You too? Emily's lips trembled, but she nodded. I miss home. I exhaled slowly. Natalie lost it. No, you can't do this. You can't take them from me. I tilted my head. You took them first, remember? Her mouth opened and closed. Then she let out a scream of pure rage and stormed toward the door. Before leaving, she turned back, her face twisted in fury. You'll regret this, Jack. You'll never find someone better than me. Claire yawned. Kinda already did, babe. Natalie let out another inhuman screech and slammed the door behind her. For a long moment, the house was silent. Then Claire turned to me. So, who wants cake? Brandon hesitated. What kind? Claire smirked. Revenge-flavored. Natalie was gone. For the first time in what felt like forever, my house, felt mine again. No tension in the air, no waiting for the next snide comment, no walking on eggshells trying to keep a woman happy who had already decided I wasn't worth it. Just me and my kids. Brandon stood awkwardly near the staircase, his fingers twitching. Emily clutched the strap of her backpack, shifting from foot to foot. They weren't sure what to do. I wasn't sure either. But then Claire, in all her infuriating, shameless confidence, stretched her arms above her head and announced, Well, that was fun. Now what? I gave her a look. Now you're leaving. She gasped in fake offense. Jack, after everything we've been through? You're not helping. She grinned. Oh, I am helping. You're just not ready to admit it yet. I sighed, rubbing my face. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving behind a deep, bone-tired exhaustion. Claire. She clicked her tongue. Fine, I'll behave. But first, She turned to the kids, her expression shifting into something softer, more curious. So, you two are mini jacks, huh? Brandon narrowed his eyes. Who are you? Claire smirked. The upgrade. Emily stifled a giggle. Brandon didn't look amused. Are you like my dad's new girlfriend or something? I opened my mouth to shut that down immediately, but Claire beat me to it. Maybe, she said, tilting her head. Maybe not. What do you think? Brandon huffed. I think you look like trouble. Claire grinned. Smart kid. I sighed. Enough. Claire, go. She let out a dramatic groan. Fine, but I will be back, Jack. Don't get all lonely without me. And with that, she strutted out the door, leaving me alone with my kids. I turned to them. Emily was still biting back a smile, but Brandon just looked uncertain. I exhaled slowly. Go put your bags in your rooms. We'll talk later. They hesitated, then nodded, heading upstairs. And just like that, I was alone again. The next few days were awkward. Brandon barely spoke to me. He wasn't openly rude, but he kept his distance, like he wasn't sure if I was still the same dad he left behind. Emily, on the other hand, adjusted quickly. She slipped back into her old routines, raiding the fridge at midnight, hogging the remote, leaving her shoes in the middle of the hallway. It was almost normal, almost. Then, 3 days after Natalie's meltdown, my phone rang. Unknown number. I picked up. Hello? A pause. Then, Jack, we need to talk. Natalie. I clenched my jaw. We really don't. Jack, please, I shouldn't have. She let out a shuddering breath. Can we just meet in person? Just to talk. I swear, no tricks. Just you and me. I hesitated. My gut screamed no, but my curiosity whispered yes. I let out a slow breath. Fine, 1 hour. The diner on 5th. When I got to the diner, she was already there. She looked different. Not the smug, polished version of her that had left me behind. Her makeup was lighter, her hair pulled into a loose bun. She looked tired. For a second, I almost felt bad. Almost. I sat across from her. Talk. She swallowed. I messed up, Jack. I raised an eyebrow. You don't say. She winced. I shouldn't have left like that. I should have handled things differently. I thought he was. She exhaled sharply. He told me he loved me, Jack. He told me he was leaving his wife. I thought. I held up a hand. Stop. Just stop. I didn't need to hear about her lover's broken promises. Didn't need to hear how she was the one who got played. I leaned forward. Do you regret leaving, or do you regret losing? She flinched. I nodded. That's what I thought. She let out a small, bitter laugh. God, you really do hate me now, huh? I thought about that. Did I? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing was for sure. I didn't love her anymore. I don't care about you, Natalie. My voice was calm, steady. Not enough to hate you. Not anymore. Her face twisted, her hands balling into fists. I was with you for years, Jack. You can't just turn it off like that. I tilted my head. Sure I can. You did. She inhaled sharply, her eyes glistening with something she hated showing. I stood. We're done here. But before I could walk away, she reached out, grabbing my wrist. Jack, please. I yanked my hand free. Goodbye, Natalie. Then I walked out. And for the first time in years, I felt free. I left the diner without looking back. There was no need. Natalie had made her choice, and now she was choking on it. The weight of what she had done, the life she had thrown away, was finally pressing down on her. But it wasn't my job to lift it off her shoulders, not anymore. For years, I had let her words chip away at me. I had swallowed the insults, ignored the looks of disgust, let myself believe that maybe I deserved it. Not anymore. I drove home with the windows down, the night air cool against my face. When I pulled into the driveway, the house wasn't dark and empty. The porch light was on, and through the front window, I could see Brandon and Emily sitting on the couch, half watching a movie. My kids. I sat in the car for a moment, letting that sink in. Natalie thought she could take everything from me, that she could humiliate me, break me, and then come back like she was doing me a favor. But in the end, she lost. I had my kids, I had my home, and I had myself. I stepped inside, and Emily looked up from the couch. "Dad!" she chirped, stuffing a handful of popcorn into her mouth. "We saved you some, but Brandon ate most of it." Brandon snorted. "Liar." I smiled. A real, genuine smile. "What are you guys watching?" "Some dumb action movie," Brandon muttered. "She picked it." "And it's amazing, thank you very much," Emily shot back. I chuckled, kicking off my shoes. "Move over." Brandon hesitated, then scooted over to make room. I sat down, sinking into the couch, the warmth of my kids beside me. It felt right, normal, mine. A few minutes later, a knock sounded at the door. I sighed. "I swear to God, if that's your mother," Brandon smirked. "I'll get the baseball bat." I barked out a laugh, ruffling his hair before getting up. But when I opened the door, it wasn't Natalie, it was Claire, leaning against the doorframe, smirking. "Miss me?" I rolled my eyes. "You just can't stay away, can you?" She pouted. "Guilty." I crossed my arms. "What do you want, Claire?" "Oh, you know," she grinned, "to see if you're finally ready to have some real fun." I stared at her. Then, slowly, I smiled. Maybe it was time. Time to let go of the past. Time to stop thinking about what I lost and start focusing on what was ahead. Time to win. I stepped aside, nodding toward the living room. "You like dumb action movies?" Claire grinned. "Only the dumbest." I let her in, and this time when I closed the door, I didn't look back.